Hey, Greg. First of all, can we get your thoughts? We know that it was a Riqui. He's not going to be able to play. Just what has he meant to this group as you guys got things turned around this season?
Yeah, I mean, Riqui, he's first and foremost, he's the ultimate competitor. I mean, he wants to win, he wants to compete, he wants to play, he wants to impact the game, uh, and he wants responsibility out on the field. And that's that he drives the team in many ways. You know, when you look at the end of a stat sheet on any given day, he's probably touched the ball 120 times, 140 times, and he'll lead the team in touches by a good margin. So because he again, like I said, he wants to win and he wants to impact the game. And so we'll miss that on the attacking side for sure, as somebody who can just change the tempo of a game like this, and any play in any given moment can be the one that changes the game when you have a guy like Riqui, and because of his capacity to pull kind of plays off and do things like that. So we're going to miss him on that side of things. On the defensive side of things, he's just always, I think, as much as anything, he's someone who is an intelligent defender about his positioning, but more than anything, he's someone that the opposition always has to account for in transition because the team is so good in transition through him. And so they also have to be really mindful of Riqui when they have the ball. And so, we're going to miss all of those things, but I guess, in a season that is 34 games long plus, we had to go through it 3 to 4 games without Riqui during the course of the season. We were able to be successful to find the right formula with this group in those moments. It's never something that we wanted, but we at least have something to look back on and say, hey, we were successful in this stretch when we did happen to miss him. And we have to kind of redefine who we're going to be and how we're going to win this game without someone like Riqui on the field. And we certainly can do that.
You've, like you said, you guys won, I think, 3 games without him. But it seemed that he had really taken his game up to another level over the last maybe month or so. And then Marco, Diego, and Mark, they're different players than Riqui. So how does that all factor into it?
You could say that of every player in the league is a different player than Riqui. He's a unique player in what he does. So you have to look a little bit more into sometimes the collective aspect of the game, where if you don't have the guy who's going to slip through the lines and change a scenario immediately individually, then you're going to have to talk about the speed in which the ball is moving, the solutions, the collective side of things. Again, timing and all those things that you're trying to in sync. When I watched the last game back, I felt like we were heavily reliant upon Riqui to make a big play in that game. And I do think for us, if we would have moved the ball a little quicker as a group, we could have maybe unlocked them a little bit more. But in the end, Riqui does make the play as we recover the ball. Mark gets it across, and then Riqui on one knee slips Dayon through to finish the game. So it took a play, but I felt like the game needed to move a little bit faster for us. These are things we're going to have to do against a Red Bulls team that is going to come out and press, and we need to make sure that the ball's not sticking on anyone's foot, that it's moving quick, and that we're combining, and that we're in the right spaces at the right times, and we're able to play through that press. So again, we're going to have to adapt, and we're going to have to adapt in a collective way. It's not any one player who's going to step on and do what Riqui has done for us. That's for sure.
Greg, thanks for your time. Can you do you know about the severity of the injury? And I asked that because he played 30 minutes on it. It suggests that it wasn't a complete rupture. Do you know about surgery and the severity of the injury?
To my knowledge, it was a pretty straightforward sort of ACL tear from what I understand. I think given the moment, the adrenaline, the competitor inside of him, I don't know if he completely knew that that was the scenario on the field that he actually did. He said he felt, when I spoke to him later, he said he felt like his knee was a little unstable, but he felt some clicking, but he didn't necessarily hear or feel like a pop, which sometimes is an indication. And so, yeah, when I watch it back now, because there's a lot of things inside the game that I miss in the game because I'm thinking about the collective group or how I want to fix the defending. And so I never, and because he went down and got up so quickly, I actually didn't even know that he had a knee issue. I knew he came into the game with a little bit of a quad issue but was feeling okay. That I thought when he even came over to the sideline, I was so focused on organizing our defending. And when they were working on the side, I didn't even realize that they were looking at his knee or anything like that. So when I went back and watched the game, I cringed a lot more at his movements, and I was actually incredibly impressed at some of the ways that he was able to do things on one foot and protect the knee, but still execute play. It was extraordinary. Doesn't make anything better, but it was extraordinary how he was able to manage the situation and get through it and still impact the game and do all the things he did. But I don't know exactly why or how he wasn't kind of incapacitated in a way and but could continue. I don't know, but I do know of guys in the league in the past who have played without an ACL and things like that. So it is possible. But I think it's the fighter in him and how it shows the desire he had to want to win that game, to not come off the field knowing that there could be something that was not right.
And you missed him 5 games during the regular season at different times. And I think the first 3 you used Diego and then Marco when he came and was available. Do you have any idea you can share with us about how you might approach Saturday? What your lineup change might be because of Riqui?
Not really. I mean, nothing that I want to share for the opposition specifically, but I mean, it's going to be a different type of player than Riqui, you know. Marco, we'll see how his health is as the week progresses. You know, have some optimism that he can get himself turned around and be ready for us. Obviously, with Diego gives us a little bit of the option that we saw in before. So want to see who's ready, who's going, and I also look at Red Bulls and see them as a little bit of a unique competitor because of their pressing, and they want to get man to man, and they want to be disruptors as much as they want to be creators in many ways. And so how we want to manage that situation both early and later, things that we're working through, talking through, and figure out the right personnel to try to approach, you know, the game. So not too much more than that, though.
Greg, one other example of a player who played on an ACL after hurting in a game, Danielle Fotopoulos back in the old WUSA, played a full game after tearing her ACL. She said, I was torn already. I wasn't going to hurt it worse.
Yeah, well, that's one way to look at it. There's other ligaments and stuff there, but anyways.
Where is Marco right now in terms of his health, in terms of his fitness?
Getting treatment, doing this stuff day to day is what I would say. Day to day, he scanned yesterday, and there's, some issue there. The question is how prepared can we get him for the game this week? And I don't think it's overly significant. It's not debilitating, but it's also challenging. So we'll see day to day how he recovers.
Where exactly is it?
Growing.
For Riqui, I mean, this is devastating.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How's he taking it, and just your thoughts on the emotion of it?
Yeah, emotionally, he's devastated. I think that's the word. Obviously, like everyone, trying to see the positive things that you can, which are very few and far. But, when I say that, it's I'm going to come back stronger, work hard, I'll get there. This is part of the game, those types of things. But to work as hard as he has and to care as much as he does about being in this moment, this is what he came here for, is to be in this game that's coming up and to win a championship. And that's what he's been driven and motivated by. And so you can imagine it's difficult. I haven't spoken to him, but obviously having missed the World Cup because of a last-minute injury, I understand a little bit the devastation that comes with it, and I hope to try to be a resource for him. But he right now his family's here too, and so he has a lot of support around him, which is a good thing. But it's hard. It's going to be hard for him, but he's going to be positive for the group. I can already see that in the messages he's sent the group. So he's there, and the group's going to want to fight for him on the weekend too, because he's certainly helped us to get here.
Nikki?
Greg, I know you touched on this after the match on Saturday, but where this club was when you came back in 2021 and where you are now, what does this moment mean to you?
I am obviously I'm thrilled for just the project and the group and the club and the fan base and everybody who has over the years have set the standard for this organization, that this is the expectation, is to be in games like this, to win trophies and to win championships, to to be a part of a group that's helped navigate us back to this point and find a group of players who have been able to manage sometimes the burden that comes with the legacy of a team like this and be able to own that and come out and compete. This group has attacked it from day one this season and hasn't been afraid of it or in awe of it and has gone for it. And I think that's one of the beauties of this group. And so I'm excited for the group for this opportunity. And now the objective here is to win it and really put the stamp on it and say you've been here, because a lot of it's been about the 6th trophy and rewriting sort of a new group of players and a new legacy for the organization. So we're one game away, and I think the group is locked in and they're focused and confident, and they're at home in front of the crowd and the fans. And so, and I'm appreciative to a lot of people who, when I took this job, they believed in the vision that I had put in front of them for the club and for the organization. And they said, we're signing on. And the words from them was, whatever you do, be relentlessly committed to your vision. And because we believe in it too. And so we've tried to stay to that. And that vision obviously takes new people come on, and you continue to evolve that vision, and you continue to look and find new ideas and new solutions, which, Will and others who come on, nobody's gone in a different direction. Everybody's added to where we want to be and how we want to get there. And that's how you get to places. And so, again, really excited for everybody involved and everybody who believed in the project from the beginning. And now we got to stamp it.
And really quickly, have any of the other alumni or founding fathers, I guess, reached out to you over the past couple of days and shared their excitement for, a possible number 6 here?
Not a ton in the last few days. Kind of during the playoffs after the Colorado games, a few guys have reached out. So there's some that I'm close to over the years, or some that I know less well, obviously. But I'm sure over the course of this week, there'll probably be more that will either be coming in town or around and whatnot. So I think their standard is probably you haven't won it yet. So you gotta. So we'll see.
And we'll transition to Zoom.
Thank you very much. We're going to start the Zoom portion of the availability with Miriam Swanson from the LA Daily News. You are welcome to ask a question.
Hey, Coach, sort of following up on that, on the alumni tip. I wanted to ask you about Kevin and Dan, your former teammates turned coaching colleagues. And what about that? Could you hear it? Oh, hello?
Yeah, sorry, I missed the first part of your question. Sorry.
Just I want to ask about Kevin Hartman and Dan Kalishman and
Okay.
your former teammates turned
Yes,
coaching colleagues. And
sure.
what about that partnership works well? And is this run all a little extra sweet doing it with those guys?
Yeah, I mean, Dan, Kevin, obviously Dan and I have been together now for, I don't know, 11, 12 years, whatever it's been, in Toronto and then here. And Kevin joined us when we got here in LA. And so, along with the other staff, Jason Bent and Nick Theslov and Sam Green and that group. But it's just a really good group that we've known each other for a long time. We all share a passion for this organization and the club and where we want it to be. Again, share a vision, but we also have known each other long enough to challenge each other and to put the right questions in front of each other and support. I mean, at times we just we know each other well enough. We know where to fill each other's gaps and to help. And, Dan is such he's a big personality out on the field and with the guys, and he drives some of the energy out there, and he's a big voice. He was Captain Dan in '96. And so he still has that demeanor and presence, with this group. And Kevin with his goalkeepers, just so much knowledge, and he's calm and the leadership and giving John and the guys what they need. But it's just a group that, again, the group gets along really well. And I'd say that across all of our departments, that, we share a vision and everybody works to be the best in their space that they can be, and to provide support to the overall vision and direction. And, and these guys are at the top of the list on that.
Next, we'll go to Pablo Maurer, followed by Joe Lowry. Pablo.
Hey, Greg, thanks for making the time to talk today. I wanted to ask, obviously, the Galaxy and sort of the league's sort of banner franchise for so long, and I've kind of drifted astray a bit in the past 10 years, and the league has changed a lot as well. Obviously, you have other franchises, LAFC, Atlanta United, now Miami, kind of sharing the spotlight or taking it entirely. I wonder what you make of the Galaxy's current kind of footprint in MLS, and also, maybe what the potential is here if you guys do win to sort of begin to kind of claw back some of that relevance, and whether that even matters to you, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I think as the league has grown, and it's always was going to, but it's grown now to what will be 30 teams next year and 29. And over the last 10 years, you've seen some clubs that have come in that have been extraordinarily ambitious. Some of the new ownerships groups are, and you mentioned some of them are just extremely ambitious, and they're going out and trying to get the biggest and best players they can and to maximize, their budgets in every possible way. And their academies and everything else. And I think you're seeing the clubs that are doing that in a lot of ways are pushing the envelope. And over the course of the last 10 years, you probably had 3 or 4 clubs set new records in terms of points per season or other things. And that's just again a tribute to these new clubs, and not new anymore, but the newer clubs that have come in and also challenged the clubs that have been staples, and also brought in fresh ideas and new ideas and finding ways to push the league forward. I think because we're such a young league, you need that from those clubs. And I think with the Galaxy in that stretch, found a lot of success originally being really the drivers in the league and understanding, pushing the DP narrative and getting those types of players here, and we're able to. And now I just genuinely believe that it's become a league that it's not just about big players and big name players. It's about having a team that really fits together. It's about having a scouting department that is on it and finds players who fit the vision of the way the club and the coaches want to play. And it's having a support system around and underneath, which is, there's so much data and sports science and everything that goes into it, that all of those departments and all of those things really have to connect and be as efficient as possible to be successful in our league. And there's still no guarantees when you get to the playoffs, because it's the way our playoffs is set up. As we see, anybody can beat anybody. So there's still a level of that. But at the same time, I think the overall standard in the league is continuing to be pushed over and over again. And when I came here, that was my objective with the people that we've been working with, not just me, but as the new coach, was to try to say, I think we need to build infrastructure in addition to build a team that fits a vision, and we need to have all the infrastructure around it to support that team if we want to get back to competing year in and year out and be a contender for championships year in and year out. And like I said earlier, there's been a shared vision on that and a commitment to it from top to bottom, and a lot of people who are very smart, around and in important positions, who've done great work. And so we've been able to get there, and it's allowed me to focus also on the team and the players and getting them what they need. And so I'm happy for us that we're here. And yes, I think it's important for our league that the LA Galaxy is in a position or in some type of pole position and a leader in this league, because of the legacy and history and the name it has around the world, because of its success, but also because of players like David Beckham, who came and have expanded that fan base well beyond just the United States. So I think it's important that we're here. I'm happy for our group, and now, we've got one more game to do it, and then we've got a lot of time to have to be sustainable in that too. It can't just be about 1 year. So.
Thank you. We'll go to Joe Lowry next, followed by Tom Hindle. Joe.
Greg, Joe Lowry from backheel.com. Thank you for taking time to do this. Really appreciate it. Earlier, you referenced the Red Bulls pressing man-to-man. I'm curious, what are the things, whether it's maybe a forward checking into midfield or a vertical run in behind one of their center backs, what are the things that, if you're seeing them from your team on Sunday at halftime or full time, that will mean that your squad is doing a good job of exploiting that man-oriented defensive approach from the Red Bulls?
I think anytime you get teams that really want to press, you got to do the best things that you can do without being specific to try to create either some uncertainties in their press, or which uncertainties is always about how can you win time, right? Little fractions of time where you can face forward, you can establish a possession that can be connected and sort of purposeful and repeatable, not just if they're pressing you all the time and they're really clear on their references and they're right in your face and they don't feel like they're going to get penalized for it, then the game can be very hectic, which is what they would love the game to be. And then it's transitional, which is what they would love the game to be. So if we can settle the game by creating some uncertainties or to pause their press in any way, shape, or form in certain moments, get guys on the ball between lines or get guys in behind their press, then that's when the over rotations or when guys are really aggressive stepping out, they can be exposed. And so, if we're doing things in the right way to be able to slow the press down or create any of those uncertainties where possessions can become a little more calculated and controlled, and then that'll be a good way for us in terms of just controlling the game and the tempo of the game. The others is you're just within those one-on-ones, you're trying to set up matchups that you like. When a team gets really personal, there's always around the field, there's some matchups that you would prefer to have over others. And then how can you exploit those individual matchups when the opposition is aggressive or sometimes over aggressive? So, and then conversely, I'll flip it to the other side, which is defensively, you can always shift the game. It's about when can you make the game disruptive or difficult for them when they're in possession? How do you want to defend that and things like that? So again, we'd prefer the game not be hectic for 90 minutes, which I think is impossible for anyone to do, but finding our moments to control the game and finding our moments to flip the script and make it difficult really for them in their moments of possession and things as well.
We go with Tom Hindle, and then we will close with John Lupo. Tom?
Hi, Coach. Thanks for doing this. Tom Hindle from Goal USA. I just wanted to ask, so you will have played against New York, right, as a player. Now you've coached against them. Obviously, they were the Metro Stars and there's all of that. But I'm just wondering, what was that rivalry like back then? And has it continued until today?
Yeah, I think just the New York LA rivalry always has something in it. In the original days, it was the Metro Stars with the anticipation of being a big franchise with some big names, and the Galaxy, similarly. Because we're in different conferences, we don't face each other a ton, and usually it's never been in a final, right? So it's always been just kind of a, whether it's the first game of the MLS here, I think we played them, right? In 1996, the first Galaxy home game was against New York, or there's probably been a 4th of July game here or there along the way, potentially, but never in a scenario like this. But always, I think the New York LA rivalry is always there, but we just haven't had these big moments like we have this weekend that have driven that rivalry. And I always think that the games have to have a lot of emotion behind them for a rivalry to really exist inside of that. So there's an opportunity for that. I think also they've evolved a lot from being when they were the Metro Stars to now the vision that they have in the version of the Red Bulls, which is a really aggressive and dynamic way of doing things. And having faced them many times in Toronto, they're a team that is very disruptive and they work hard, they sprint hard, they compete, and they get in your face, and you gotta find your ways to take control of the game and put it in the vision that we want. So always a challenge, and it will be, I'm sure, energetic and charged, and it won't look like the last game or two here that were a little bit slower. It's going to be a game that's going to have tempo and probably some aggressive moments on both sides.
Excellent. And then we will close with John.
Okay. Yeah.
John Lupo, go ahead.
Didn't know that.
Greg, you mentioned that the Red Bulls sort of play a unique style, and Sandro's been able to adapt the formation, change it from the regular 4-4-2 to, like against Columbus, match what they do, and they don't mind ceding possession, and they're also very physical. Is there a team in the West that they remind you of, and what kind of a unique challenge? How do you go about defending and preparing for a team that plays such a unique style that you may not see all that often?
Yeah, I think, again, there's always nuances inside of it, but I think if you look at Colorado, there's some similarities to how Chris Armas, who's been around the Red Bulls system and style for a while, how they would like to play. At times in that series, in our early series, they tried to get they worked to get man to man, and they really pressed us hard, and they were disruptive at times in it until we solved kind of our setup and how we wanted to go based on how they were pressing. They were more, especially in the first game and other games we played, they were more in a back four, whereas obviously New York has shifted into what looks more like a back 3-5, a rotating 5, and they'll release wing backs. So whatever the process is kind of the same for us, is trying to understand in preparation, but also in as the game starts, is to try to understand how they're getting to man and who's going where and how they're organizing their press, and then be able to shift into the solutions that we need to have to, again, try to accomplish the things that we want to accomplish. It's there's always time on the field, and it's just a matter of how you set up and find that time and how you organize the time on the field. And that's what we're going to have to, those are the problems we're going to have to solve in the game. And while we're doing it, we've got to make sure that they aren't able to force us into costly mistakes or into situations that where we can hurt ourselves, or they can turn us into ways we can they can hurt us. So yeah, that's the game with them. We've seen a little bit of it in different ways, but they certainly have their unique way of going about it, and we've got to find the solutions.